All right, so I'm gonna cut right to the chase, right? You need to start investing ASAP. If you're young, especially if you're young, it don't matter if it's 10, 20, 30, $40 a month. You need to create that habit of investing. If not, you're gonna be broke your whole life. A man that does not invest is a man that will work until he dies. So let me tell you a story, right? When I've always wondered how all these people made it, right? All these millionaires, self-made millionaires. I always wonder how how do they do it? Right? They have to be playing a different game than us. They have to be doing something different because we bust our ass and we can't seem to get out of the fucking rat race. I started reading a lot of books. A good book and that actually opens up your mind to that. Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a good beginner's book. I definitely recommend it to anybody that's trying to get out of the rat race, right? Or how do they do it? So I always wondered. I started reading. I started looking up, doing a lot of research, and all these people are playing a totally different game. They're playing a different game with different sets of rules and stuff that you never get taught. You gotta teach that stuff yourself. So why, right? Only middle class motherfuckers save their money. Poor people, well, of course, they don't have money to save, right? Middle class save their money, and the rich invest. That's as simple as it gets. So you get to choose how do you want to live your life. You want to live like a little middle class Jeffrey, where you just save away, save away. If you think about it, if you save, you're losing the you're losing value through inflation. If you don't know what inflation is it's a form of what your money could buy you, right? The government prints money. The more money there is out there, the less it could buy you. So it just so when you're saving, you're actually losing money or you're losing value. That's why the rich invest. You got to think of that, right? So why you should start investing as early as you can, even if you're 18. If you ain't making much money, build that habit of investing. Invest 10%, 5% of what your income is, or $5, $10. Build that up because when you're young, you have the opportunity. Since you're young, you have a lot of room for mistakes. You have a lot of room to make mistakes. You have a lot of room to grow. You have a lot of time. That's something a lot of people don't have. And as a young person, you have that automatically gives you the upper hand because you get to make mistakes. You could throw your money at something you don't even know. You don't even know much about. And in 10, 20 years, I guarantee you'll still have more. You'll still make some more than what you would do if you would save it, right? Well, it just depends, right? If you throw yourself into bad investments, also that could really mess you up. But if you was to throw it to the S&P 500, it's a broad index fund, right? It's the broad U.S. market. I guarantee you it will give you more returns in 10 years than it will give you if you save for the next 10 years in your life. No man has saved himself to wealth. No man. It's impossible. You could save for the rest of your life and not even pay bills and eat for free, and let's say you save all your income and you still won't be a millionaire. You can't save yourself. You can't save yourself to wealth, right? So let me show you this little trick, right? Well, Warren Buffett and all these people talk about compound interest. I believe as a young person, use this to your advantage. If you don't know what compound interest is what your money makes, the interest your money makes, that interest that makes interest. If you can understand me, right? So the interest that makes interest. Let's say you put $100 to broad index fund that usually, give or take, gives you 10% back a year. So by the end of the year, you'll have $110 just to make it a simple, right? A simple explanation. $10. You would make $10 by the end of the year, 10% return. So on the next year, you won't be making interest on $100. You will be making interest on $110. So that's what compound interest is. The money you make from interest, that's making you money now. So as a young person, you have 20, 30, 40, 50 years for you to let that compound interest build up. Let me give you an example, right? If you were to invest $200 in a broad index fund, which usually, give or take, the stock market, U.S. stock market return is at 10% a year. 10% a year, right? Give or take. Some years are better than the others. So it's just an estimate. If you were to invest $200 a month and you were to start in your 20s, by the time you retire in your 60s, you will retire a millionaire. Guaranteed. $1.2 million. You will achieve millionaire status. That's only $200 a month. A month. Right? So if you were to wait 10 years, if you were to wait just 10 years later, because most people are like, I'll just invest later. I have a whole life ahead of me. People that say that they're idiots, because they can use compound interest is what helps you out the most. So if you wait 10 years, you will retire with $400,000. So those 10 years are costing you $800,000. $800,000. Those 10 years, that's what it's costing you. So that's why I always preach, and I tell especially younglings, people younger than me, I always tell them, invest as soon as possible. As soon as possible. It's not rocket science. Most people, the stock market, it's thought as to be complicated and you need to be checking it every day. This is type of stuff. You gotta set it and forget it. You're not gonna be a trader. I believe, this is my, traders it's really rare. It's really rare to become a millionaire doing trades. You have to be really good. There's hedge fund managers that literally dedicate their whole life and they can't even beat the stock market. What makes you think you will, right? I mean, by all means, you want to do it, try it, right? You can prove me wrong. But the odds are against you. So why even try, right? So the people that really make the big money, the big bucks, are in it for the long game. There's a saying, staying in the market beats time in the market. So that's as simple as it gets, right? Let me give you another example. I looked it up. Actually, did some research before this video. So on 2021, the average salary, well, not the average, the medium salary, because average and the average and medium are two different things, right? The medium is what most people have. Average is the average of all the incomes. So let's say if Warren Buffett was to come in here, probably the average of the average in this room, the average net worth in this room would be millionaire status, right? So that's why I don't go by the average. I kind of go by the median, because the median is what most people in the U.S. have, because all these millionaires pushing the average way up, right? So we're gonna go by the median. The median salary in the U.S. is $70,000, right? So let's say you were to take 10% of that. That's only the average. If you're watching these videos, it's because you're gonna be better than the average, right? You're gonna be making way more money than this. So let's say you only get 10% of the $70,000. That's only 10%. That comes down to like $600 a month, give or take. $600 a month. That's only 10%. As well, you gotta live below your means, all of that, etc. stuff, right? All that extra stuff. Live below your means. Invest 10% of your yearly salary a month, and if you do it, you will retire 3.7 million. You're a multi-millionaire. You won't have to work a day in your life again, right? So that's why I'll preach so much to invest as soon as possible. Know what you're investing in as well. Look into it. Go to YouTube, read some books, find some mentors that do that. But you need to start now. Don't wait till later. Another thing I want to talk about is, I do preach about not saving your money, right? Well, you have to be a balanced person. Of course, you shouldn't save all your money. I believe I'm a big investment guy, but you should save some, right? Because if shit hits the fan, you're gonna have to sell your investments, and that's already coming. That's cutting into your compound interest that I was talking about. You cutting into investment. You gotta sell. If shit hits the fan, you will have to sell to pay your bills or whatever. That's why you have savings, emergency savings account. I believe you should set that first. You should have at least 6 months of savings in your saving account. After that, start investing, because if the moment shit hits the fan, you got your little emergency fund right there, and you don't have to sell your investments, because that will be cutting into your compound interest. Right? So don't forget that. Get into it as soon as possible. Don't waste time. If you don't change now, you won't change ever, right? Don't leave stuff for tomorrow. Your tomorrow is not gonna be Superman and he's gonna do all your stuff. No, do it now. Don't leave what you could do now. Don't leave it to tomorrow. And like always, stay on the grind.